There's a relationship between the cheating and the dead bedrooms, because sometimes the cheating starts because the bedroom was dead before. They got bored with one another.
Welcome back to the podcast. I'm here with two of the foremost divorce lawyers in the United States, Denise Isaacs at Divorce Lawyer Denise and Leah Mayerson at Mayerson Law Group. And today we get to ask them questions that married people whisper about, and we've always wanted to know the answers to. And specifically today, we're talking about dead bedrooms. If you have a dead bedroom, does that mean that that's the end of the relationship?
I think for younger couples, especially when the men find that the bedroom's dead, they're much more motivated. And it's not that women don't want to have good sex. That's not the case at all. It's just that they seem to be a lot more tolerant before they get to that point where they're willing to call the relationship because of it. With older couples, a lot of the older couples are very tolerant for a very long period of time. And when they're getting divorced, they might mention it as part of a long series of other issues, but it's not usually the motivating factor. I see other motivating factors first.
And when we say dead bedrooms, we're talking about the lust has gone. They're not having sex anymore.
I think that there's unfortunately a shockingly large amount of couples that just aren't having sex, or they're not having great sex.
Is that true? I mean, is that what's happening with most couples?
First, I'm going to say when it comes to older couples, it's mixed. I would say about 80% don't care. They just don't care. They're happy to have somebody who's going to take care of them for the rest of their lives when they're in their 80s. It is something that is more important. Getting taken care of and having somebody who's with you, who loves you, is more important than having sex.
That makes sense. Okay, so let's just so I get an idea, these are the questions we've always wanted to ask, right? Like, what percentage of like 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds have dead bedrooms? Does it rise? Married 20-year-olds, relationship 20-year-olds, dead bedrooms.
I don't think that that's a big issue with 20-year-olds.
Okay.
Unless you have a really hot girl with a really ugly guy. And I sometimes see that.
What? And it's a dead bedroom?
Because the girl is oftentimes not interested in the guy and they don't have the chemistry. She might have gotten together with him for other factors. Especially in South Florida, you see a lot of like really nerdy guys who end up with really hot girls. And a lot of times the girl is taking them for a financial ride.
Oh, okay. And not having sex with them.
And not having sex with them. Or occasionally having sex, but it is certainly a dead bedroom from their perspective.
All right.
And a lot of times these girls even have a side piece and they're already hooking up with someone else on the side or trying to find their next guy, their next con.
You obviously have seen a lot of this particular case. And that's crazy in your 20s to have that going on. What is a dead bedroom? I mean, it's something that people say a lot. Obviously, if you're a couple, it's, the worst thing you could possibly hear. It makes you very uncomfortable right off the bat. I mean, is it just not having sex? What is it in your experience?
Why don't you talk about what you think a dead bedroom is?
Okay, well, so dead bedrooms, something I hear all the time, something that makes people very uncomfortable. And obviously, I think it's just not having sex, right?
Yes.
It's when a couple stop having, okay.
They stop having sex.
For the official definitions.
And sometimes it's both of them, sometimes it's one of them. And it just varies depending upon the situation.
Is there a situation where they're like the sex is just bad and they don't, and they've lost is that the?
Yeah, they've lost that je ne sais quoi. Mm-hmm. That happens as well. And there are a lot of people, I do have every so often someone coming to the office and saying that they've just fallen out of love with the other person. They usually are angry at the other person or they have some kind of blame for something. But every so often, it's just, look, we're the best of friends.
Out of the divorce cases that you have, how much does sex play a factor in them not like?
A lot in terms of cheating, but in terms of dead bedrooms, not really as much.
Really?
Yeah.
I would say that maybe 25% of my cases are infidelity, adultery.
I would say maybe a little bit higher than that.
Okay. What about for dead bedrooms that we're talking about?
I think there's a nexus, though. There's a relationship.
What do you mean nexus?
Okay. There's a relationship between the cheating and the dead bedrooms, because sometimes the cheating starts because the bedroom was dead before. They got bored with one another. They didn't try to connect. They grew apart and they stopped having
Interesting.
sex.
So most people who come in don't just they're like, okay, we're not having sex. This relationship seems like it's coming to an end. Let's just get divorced. Generally, they'll have an affair instead of doing the right thing.
A lot of times they do.
I want to talk about the end of the marriage affair. It's where one of the parties doesn't have the guts to tell the other person, our marriage is not working, I want a divorce. So what they do is, it's the end of the marriage affair. They have an affair. They make sure the other person finds out about it. So the other person goes crazy and files for divorce because they lack the ability to do it.
I mean, it does beat saying, I guess we're falling out of love. Let's work it. Let's go to a therapist and try to work on it. I mean,
it's a lot nicer to do it that way.
Yeah, of course.
It's a lot worse the other way.
But I find it happens in most of the adultery cases. I would say in half of the adultery cases. I don't know why they can't just come out and say, the marriage isn't working. I'm very unhappy. Let's split up. No, they have to.
I mean, why do you think? I mean, it makes sense. It's, I'm married, right? It's a really difficult conversation to have. It's somebody that you've been with for years and years and years. And it would be devastating to tell them like, hey, I'm not in love with you anymore. It's.
Or I love you, but I'm not in love with you. You've heard that a million times.
Yeah.
I love you, but I'm not in love with you. I'm ready to move on.
But that's a lot more honest than the other way. There are some people who will start having serial affairs and, they want to stay in the marriage for financial purposes or status purposes or whatever.
Comfort. Or just comfort.
So in your experience, the dead bedrooms lead more to cheating than they do a straight up divorce?
Yes, I think they lead to cheating first before divorce. We do have a certain percentage that come in saying that there's just no sex, there's no connection, they've fallen out of love.
Is it not a lot?
I would say it's a far less percentage than the people who've had affairs. And
affairs, you're saying 1 in every 4 that you've experienced-ish?
I'd say more than 25%.
Oh, whoa.
I'd say closer to 35 to 40%.
Wow. So 1 out of
have had affairs.
Yeah, 1 every 3-ish.
And it could be that just more of the men are admitting the affairs than the women, but I'm not certain because I don't think that you have a situation where the women aren't having the affairs. I think they might not be as honest about it.
Would you say dead bedrooms lead to affairs from your experience?
I wouldn't say dead bedrooms lead to affairs. I would say that anger and resentment and everything else that is happening in the marriage leads to not having sex. And then one of the parties or both of the parties.
The husband or the wife.
The husband or the wife has an affair.
Because they need, everybody, you're saying like everybody needs that though, right? I guess sex it's a human need.
It's a basic need.
I will say that in at least 30 to 40% of the marriages, it's comes second. The family comes first, keeping the relationship going. You have children.
So sex doesn't matter that much then?
No, it doesn't. And then there's the change of life. The children are older. They're getting to be older. They're on their own. They're going off to college. That leads to change of life, to people having affairs.
Affairs matter more than not having sex.
Yeah.
What is that? Well, that's so interesting. Affairs matter more than people not having sex. I get so.
But they're not having sex because of all the resentment and anger and everything else under the covers that are going on. Okay, not sex under the covers, but all these emotions and yes, and that's more important than not having sex.
But it's not always just anger and resentment causing them not to have sex. I have a lot of people complaining that, they were working all the time, their spouse was dealing with the kids all the time, and they just grew apart and stopped having sex because they weren't interested in the same things anymore. They didn't take time to connect. They didn't make an effort to continue the relationship at the same level because they were focused on their work, their kids, what they were going to do next.
But in a sense, I would say like not wanting to have sex with your, like whatever, however you get to the point. I mean, that's a nice way of putting it that you can tell your lawyer. But like, because they have felt neglected, I feel like not wanting to have sex is kind of like a punishment to the other, no matter how you put it. I mean, yes, you may not be interested. Nobody should be forced to have sex with anybody, obviously. But like, you're telling them like, I can't do this with you.
Sometimes people also aren't having sex because the other person doesn't take care of themselves. I've seen that also. I've had some people talk to me, all of a sudden their spouse, whether it was the wife or the husband, gained a lot of weight. That's a very common one.
Sure.
Stopped taking care of themselves. Maybe there are some mental health issues or hygiene slipped, things of that nature.
Mhm.
So there are a lot of different factors. It's not always just the anger and the resentment.
So what is it then? What is the issue? What is the thing? Like, why do people stop having sex with each other?
There isn't one reason.
Okay,
There
it's
isn't
a
one
lot.
reason. It's this, everything we've been talking
It's a
about.
stack.
Yeah.
Is there a point where it turns over, or it's just a natural progression? Like, how do you stop it from happening?
You got to make an effort. And you have to have a concerted effort to go ahead and change the situation and the circumstances you're in.
What do you mean by that?
You have to work on the marriage. And if the sex isn't happening, you need to go to therapy and try to work on it and make it a priority instead of ignoring it and continuing on and just having
Most
one
people
person
ignore it.
rejecting the other person.
Most people ignore it, but you, by your own admission, like, sex isn't that important. I mean, it out just by statistics, that's not the main reason people are getting divorced. Like, it seems like people are willing to put up with a lot before
They are.
Yes.
They are.
A lot of people are afraid to make a change because it's more comfortable to stay in the situation that they're in, and they're scared of what will happen if they're outside of that situation, how people will view them, how their family will view them, what will happen, if it will reduce their comfort level, what their kids are going to think about it. So they're much more comfortable to stay in the bad situation they're in than to make a change.
I mean, I think people would be very surprised to learn how little sex plays in the role of the marriage overall. I mean, it seems like it's a really pivotal.
Till the children are grown, till something happens. Parents die, they don't have to put on a performance for their parents anymore. They reach a certain age, they find somebody else is attractive, their friends are getting divorced, they feel like it's a midlife crisis.
Yeah, but what you're saying, those are the reasons people are getting divorced, but the relationship is over, right? Like, if they're waiting for their parents to leave, to die, if the parental pressure is keeping them together, the relationship is over. If the kids are moving out, they're staying together for the kids, right?
Right. But people don't always understand it. That's not what they say to themselves. They say, oh, I'll stay. It's not so important. And then all of a sudden, it's very important.
Okay, so when it's just the two of you, sex is very important.
In the beginning of the relationship, yes.
And at the end of the relationship, right? When the kids are grown.
Well,
and
it
when
depends on
parents are
how
gone.
old they are, because a lot of people will stay in it when the kids are gone, when their parents are gone, because they're just comfortable.
How many marriages have dead bedrooms? Are most marriages dead bedrooms?
I would say that of our divorce clients, the majority of them, like 90% of them.
90% of the people getting divorced have dead bedrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I would say about 90%.
Okay, that seems like it's a very important indicator.
It's very rare that I hear, and I have heard it, that they're still having sex, they're still having hot sex, and that they still want to get divorced.
Really?
Very rare.
Really?
Right. And there's a percentage of people after the divorce
Who still
who have sex with each other.
absolutely,
Keep up
they
a
still
relationship.
sleep together.
Sure. But we're onto something here. Like, this is, if most of the people who are not having sex are staying married, that seems like a good way to stay married, is continue having sex, right?
Right.
Okay, but it may not, the sex isn't the reason that they get divorced, but the people who are coming in to see you are all not having sex.
I'd say a very large percentage of them aren't having sex with their current spouse.
Right.
Some of them are.
Right, okay.
Some of them still
with each other.
are having
Yes.
sex with
Okay.
one another.
Dead bedrooms lead to cheating. Cheating leads to divorce. But not having sex with each other is the 90% indicator of divorce.
It's a good
It is.
indicator.
Yeah,
It's a very good indicator.
Okay. So what do we recommend? How do we keep people together? Do we say, like, just force yourself to have sex with your husband or wife?
No, when people come in,
I'm willing to say that. I'm going to say that, everybody. Force yourself to have sex with your husband or wife. It's good for you.
No, it's part of intimacy. It's part of it. It's part of the relationship. Just like when you first got married, now is the time to work on the relationship. You have to work on the marriage.
Yeah, but what specifically, how and why?
I tell clients when they come in, when there's no domestic violence, when they have young kids, when there's a reason to stay together, I ask them what originally attracted them to the person that they're with now. What did they like about that person? What did they have in common? What do they have in common now? And to try to plan activities around their common interests or to try to develop new common interests together.
Right,
You know,
to do
take up a
things
new
together.
hobby,
Right.
take up a new exercise, do something together to try to strengthen the relationship.
To have date nights, to go out, to go away together, to leave the children and have a relationship between the two of you, which is the most important thing. Even though the children seem to be so important, you need to have that connection and keep and work on that connection.
You were talking a little bit about hot sex or regular or whatever. Does that matter? Like, does it matter if you're having like a very passionate, if you guys are very passionately having sex, if you just are going through the motions? It's like,
There's
does
nothing
it,
wrong with going through the motions. There's nothing wrong.
to keep the marriage together? There's
The
nothing.
beginning, the lust at the beginning dissipates. It just does dissipate. And then you just have
Dissipate means goes away.
goes away.
Yeah.
Goes away. But there's still the relationship, the intimacy that you want to have with the other person, not only verbally, but sexually.
But if you're having really boring sex, I don't know that that's necessarily going to last either. I mean, you don't have to have crazy sex all the time, but there has to be a connection with the other person rather than, I think, just going through the motions.
So, Mom, you're saying any sex is okay sex, just have sex. And just go through the motions, be with each other, body on body, be next to each other.
It's the intimacy. It's continuing the intimacy between you.
Got it. And you're saying it's not just about the body on body. You have to also feel.
I think you have to feel something for the other person, some kind of passion. It doesn't have to be crazy over the top, but if you're bored and you're just going through the motions, I don't think that's going to last very long.
What we know is you can't have a dead bedroom and keep the marriage together for the long period of time. It's gonna the dead bedroom is a major tipping point, and over time something else is gonna happen. Your kids are gonna move out, your parents are gonna die, something's gonna happen along the lines that's gonna make it not worth it to be with you anymore. But if you're having sex, you might be able to save the marriage.
Yes.
I think it's definitely helpful.
It's the
It couldn't hurt.
Yes.
It couldn't
If
hurt.
you're not having sex, it's definitely not going to work long term unless you're really old.
Do you have any specific advice on sex?
Go to a sex therapist. Work on the
Sorry,
relationship. Spend time going away together on vacation, just the two of you. That's what you should be doing. Working on the relationship, being interested in the other person. It all leads. It's part of the relationship.
A dead bedroom doesn't automatically mean divorce, but a live bedroom is probably the best thing you can do to not get divorced. I'm Adam Isaacs at Adam Grow Faster. If you're a lawyer, give me a call. This is Leah Mayerson at Mayerson Law Group. That's Denise Isaacs at Divorce Lawyer Denise. Join us next time where hopefully we'll talk about something other than sex with my mother.